Don't start with me because I already know where you're going with it, and you're older than me. Don't even play with me. Don't play with me right now. You're going to end up not waking up out of sleep. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You keep on calling me old.
Hey guys, what's going on? Flawless Exotic Creations, Will, Audra.
Hey.
Coming to you guys with another video. This video is not going to be as upbeat as all of our other videos, but it will be encouraging. And informative. We don't like to get involved with any drama whatsoever, but as new breeders, we like to put out content that's constructive and useful for aspiring breeders like ourselves and new people that's looking to scale up in the hobby to potentially becoming full-time breeders.
And we're sort of I guess we're somewhat odd as far as how the reptile world kind of started with your shows, with vending,
yes,
things like that, versus your new wave I guess type of businesses that really rely off internet-based sales and things like that. So there's such a, it's kind of like I always joke that our age range was like the age range, we're on the tail end of, or the beginning of the millennial era. Don't start with me. Don't start with me because I already know where you're going with it, and you're older than me. Don't even play with me. Don't play with me right now. You're going to end up not waking up out of sleep. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You keep on calling me old. Anyway, that being said, we're in that generation where we lived without internet and with internet. No, baby, you were older than me.
You was telling me about AOL. I'm like, what is that?
Listen, he had a whole MySpace, y'all, and I did not. I did not. MySpace? Baby, don't play.
You was telling me about Oregon Trail, and I'm like,
what? You told me about Oregon Trail.
You used to use the CDs
he played Oregon Trail as
fans and
whatever. You talking about mixtapes and
I don't know what you're talking about.
8-tracks and all kinds of stuff. I remember. I distinctly remember you telling me about that. You had to explain to me what that was.
You a lie.
I know.
You a lie.
Anyway, so we're in that era of people. Would you stop and let me get my thought out? God, you're annoying. Anyway, we're in that era of people where we had the internet and we didn't have the internet. You know, we came along at a time where you actually had to socially interact with people, which nowadays children, kids, they tend to have these phones in their hands and they're extremely savvy as it pertains to internet-based functions and things like that.
Correct.
And communication through that, but they're not in person. They have a hard time ordering food through a darn drive-thru. Mm-hmm. Like, it really is such a, I guess, a juxtaposition to be in that era. You know, you're able to pull from both sides. And when it comes to the reptile industry, as far as how you sell things, that is the same wavelength we're on now. We actually came out internet-based, and we still don't vend with snakes at this point.
But we will.
We will eventually, but he's explained before, you know, what our mindset is as it pertains to that. However, we came into the internet first, and then we made the jump into vending shows. We found, you know, a lot of benefits from vending shows, networking, enjoying meeting people. You know, that was a big thing for us. You know, we started vending shows as Flawless Crested Geckos because you guys know we started out in Cresties. And we were able to work that into our marketing budget because we relied off of internet sales to begin with.
Right. So the shows, everything you're going to look for in the business side of the reptiles is going to be expenses versus your actual take home, your actual revenue. Where is that money going? There's a lot of different, I guess, outlying scenarios when it comes to breeding full time, but we want to be able to offer solutions to problems or potential problems. And we saw that, you know, eyes wide open getting into, you know, breeding geckos. And the big thing about it, especially think about it, is getting any business, not just a reptile business, getting any business off the ground. And the way we treated our business from the very beginning, we had quote unquote career jobs. But we treated it as if this is the groundwork and the structure, as if we did not.
Yes.
I think thinking about your new business or side business as almost as a convenience, as extra, makes you think about things differently.
Yeah.
It handles situations differently.
Makes you not value your business quite as much. It makes you not take your business quite as seriously as you probably should.
Because you
even
always
as
have
a hobby.
something, theoretically speaking, to fall back on. And we get that. And again, this video is just directed toward people like us who want to take this to the next level, love their animals and want to do it full time, and looking for ways to think about how to do it.
Yeah, because there's nothing wrong with people who enjoy their everyday jobs and things like that. That might be their passion. You know, they may want to continue to do that. And this may be a side hustle, a hobby or whatnot for them.
And it's fine. Whatever level you want to do it on, do it. So disclaimer, we're trying to put out there that do both. Do online and Vend shows. There's different perks and benefits to both. I know we did a video previously on this, but there's been online chatter that brought about this video to hopefully motivate and inspire people to think. And it's going to make you think about things that you probably wouldn't do normally. For example, when we Vend shows, we know for a fact there's two categories. When you come and you see vendors at shows, you're going to have professional vendors, which is nothing wrong with any other categories, but you're gonna have professional vendors. I would categorize a professional vendor as a vendor or breeder who's gonna, let's say, breed or let's say Vend 25 plus shows a year,
if not more.
We still know currently to this day, and there's nothing wrong with it, vendors that Vend 50 shows a year. It's vendors that vend more than that because they have separate teams. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Literally, you can build it at your own pace, at your own scale, and do it the way you want.
And we've seen,
and be successful.
We're not talking just necessarily about your bigger companies that have mega teams. We're talking about even, you know, husband and wife duos or partners or whatever.
Or a friend of ours. We'll bring them up. A really close friend of ours, Tristan. Tristan opened the doors for us to start vending at shows. Opened the doors with welcoming arms. I mean, he's been tremendous. I mean, I can reach out to him right now. He'll respond. And watching his growth from even when we started to now, getting big old transport trailers, multiple teams, he's doing it big, and he's doing it on national stages like Tinley. He's done Daytona. He's done all the big shows. He does all the Repticons. He's a show sponsor. So he's doing it at a different level. You're going to see success from every level of the game. But one thing from vending, even if you're mid-level to lower level on the scale, you're going to have to promote for yourself. Don't always look forward to the promoters to promote their own show. I know that sounds crazy, but let's attack this with your eyes wide open and saying that everybody's under good light. Everyone. It doesn't matter who the promoter is, what the show brand is. Let's say that everybody is going to do what they're supposed to do. And I mean, without fail, they're going to do what they're supposed to do. So that means they're going to promote the show. They're going to sell tickets. They're going to have your booth ready for you. It won't be anything messed up. You got your tables, you got your spot. Everything is golden. Bottom line, you're still going to have to pay your table costs. You're still going to pay whatever expenses is involved in getting to that show, whether it's fuel, whether it's vehicle, whether it's hotel, whatever it may be. All we're trying to say is getting started, that is a lot to deal with. Not knowing the unsurety of knowing whether you're even going to make a single sale and incurring all of this cost. Don't think it's worth it getting started. And again, that's our perspective. Then there's also we're big on branding, you know, and putting yourself out there, increasing your reach.
Extremely big on branding.
It's another opinion of ours where, you know, we probably, for us, I'll throw us under the bus. We could have gotten to Tenley quicker than what we did.
Yeah.
We were on the waiting list for years and we got in there.
We were offered many times.
We were offered
to share
tables, and I get that.
And as much as we are super appreciative to everyone who offered us that, our mindset with it was different. Okay, we want our table to be our table. We want to get in this for the long haul, be there and have that certainty of that is our table. We've waited on this waiting list. We've bugged the crap out of
Bob and Brian.
Yes, and we did. We bugged the crap out of them and bugged them and bugged them and bugged them.
And did our legwork.
And did our legwork, you know. But we wanted it to be, I won't necessarily say it's the right way, but it's a way that we wanted to go about doing it.
Plus, I think everyone looks at things differently. So to give you a little insight on our perspective on the business model, the reason why that was extremely important and worth losing the sales of animals and reptiles, being able to get on someone's table or get someone's booth for one show here or there. Yes, you can go there. You can offset some of your inventory. We get that. That's never been our intention for doing any show. Our motivation and intention is to increase our reach. So we need it in its entirety. We need Tenley. We love Tenley. We need Tenley in its entirety. We need Daytona in its entirety. Reason we bring these shows up is because guess what? These are national level shows. People just like ourselves go to the website, go to the list of vendors. We want to be on that list on the website of vendors listed there with our website for people to come and check us out. Come over here to these videos and subscribe and watch our content. We need that. We don't need, and again, it's our opinion, we don't need necessarily just to kind of slide into the show and vend the show. No one knows that we were going to be there until they're there in person and they say, oh, wow, we didn't know. That's not the approach we wanted for our business model. We want to be able to enjoy everything that comes along with you being able to pay for your table and pay for all your exposure.
It's not even being able to pay for the table. It's just simply having your own spot. When you walk through, I know a lot of you guys who vend, you see this. When you come in to set up for your show, you see each individual booth and you see a name up there with your table, with your booth number, and your name is up there. It's not, okay, if I'm helping somebody out and I'm allowing them to share my table, it's not Flawless Crested Geckos and such. It's Flawless Crested Geckos, this is their table. And that's the thing, like, you want it for us, and I can only speak for us, but we wanted it to be ours, that we had every inch of our 10 by 10 spot, or a little less than 10 by 10.
Yeah, so, yes.
It's
not exactly 10 by 10.
It's not exactly 10 by 10, but we wanted every last inch of that because we want to paint it from the top, which is our obnoxiously tall sign, to the very bottom where we're putting tape on our extension cord running across the floor, where it speaks of what our brand is. We want to be able to put as many, cases that we can fit, our display cases that we can fit in our spot. We want it to just speak to the masses that this is Flawless.
So to get it square, hit the nail right on the head, that's the bulk of doing the bigger shows, and is to increase your reach, increase your brand, ultimately trying to increase your business. You want your brand to resonate amongst your people, amongst your customers, potential customers, kids. You want to be out there and about. That's the networking side of things. That still, at the very beginning, does not translate into sales, does not translate into revenue at the beginning. So it's very, very simple why we chose, you guys waited so long to vend. Well, it's the same concept. It's like, okay, expenses. What's your expenses in sitting on your MacBook at home, taking photos? You already got all your equipment, put everything out there. Your expenses may be a little high. We know Morph Market raised their rates, but guess what? That's a great advertising avenue, especially when other resources shut those down. Facebook had shut down at that time, couldn't sell on there. Couldn't sell on Instagram. So when you seen Morph Market or Fauna or these things open up, you're doing all of these things and cross promotion from the comforts of your home. Therefore, you're lowering your expense, but you're increasing your exposure. So to do that and now bringing back cross promoting and marketing and just being, I guess, included in the hobby. You get up there on Instagram, you get up there on Facebook, and you just cross promote in a way where you're not selling anything, in a way where you're being involved in the industry and the hobby. You're increasing your reach and costing you pennies on a dollar. Versus, let's talk genuine expenses for these big shows. You know, and I was just talking to actually one of our Patreon members on Flawless Crested Geckos about thinking and the concept of doing shows. And, you know, sometimes, especially if you call someone a friend, associate, you have to be honest and true to them. And I told them, like, yeah, that concept is not the best concept to have if you're asking for help. Basically, they were explaining that, hey, you know, 2-3 months right before, you know, a big show like Tinley, they pull all their inventory down off of Morph Market. Their objective is to make sales. Sell their inventory that they have available of their snakes. But they want to snatch everything down to make sure they have inventory to put on their table at Tinley. That makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. Opinion, just an opinion. Because if you're rolling the dice and it actually happened to them when they actually been to the show and didn't do well at the show, but yet you pulled your inventory from even being viewed months prior. Listen, it's very unlikely for us, for anyone, that you're going to sell your entire inventory. Yeah. It's very unlikely. That being said, keep it up there. You may have a customer who's looking for that animal specifically that you may be able to, you know, make that sale before doing that show. And then whatever you still have, you take to that show, still with the same push, the same energy to try to move that animal into its home with its new owner. Don't cut yourself off at the knees. You have to make sure that you're out there for everyone. Which also leads to shows and how often and saturated the show market is, which is where it stemmed from.
Yeah, so this is where this video actually stemmed from. We've talked about it many times. We don't get into drama, we don't get into negativity, but we have seen, you know, a lot of people are expressing frustrations about how many shows are in a certain area by different promoters at the same time. And what's happening is it's causing these vendors hardships because they're having to go from show to show to show to be able to continue to sustain their business because that's how they do it. But also, in addition to that, they're seeing less and less people come through the door because the shows are so easy to go to.
Right.
The thing that you have to remember is that these promoters, they promote, they say they do their job, but say they don't. What are you going to do? So the point that we're trying to make is so important to have both aspects, both the internet, putting your presence out there, getting yourself out of that comfort zone of just being in your small box, because when some outside source, you know, causes havoc in your area that you've been making money for years and you pay your bills with for years, that's out of your control. Absolutely. You can't do anything with it, but what you can control is how you promote yourself. And if you're able to put yourself out there on the internet, you're able, maybe you don't sell anything on the internet, you're just putting your presence, you're making your presence known to where people know who you are, they know your face, they, you know, not just our community, but at large. It's crazy because literally, I think I saw a statistic, this was a couple of months ago. In the U.S. alone, there's 2.4 million households with a reptile, with a pet reptile in there. 2.4 million, I believe it is. It may even be more than that. It may have been more. But if you wrap your mind around that and you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, there's at tops, say there's 10,000 people that walk through a reptile show door. you're still only limiting yourself to that 10,000 when you could put yourself out there, even if you're not selling online. And whenever you go into these different areas, you have promoted yourself so much that people aren't just coming for the show. They're not just coming because they saw the promoter. They're coming for you.
And that's the other stuff about it, because it's not always, and I know we talk about online sales versus show sales. You don't have to necessarily show, or sell online. You need to put yourself though online, because this is why. Let's say you're vending 30 plus shows a year and you're vending with this promoter or that promoter, but at the same time, let's say over half the shows are not doing necessarily well, but you're almost obligated to do them because you have no online presence at all. But that's your business and that's what you do. You're a breeder, you're a vendor, you have your own shop, but you're not anywhere else other than these shows. So in theory, you're leaving your livelihood in the hands of someone else. So it depends on those promoters on whether they're going to promote it. It depends on those promoters on whether they're going to secure the right facility, whether they're going to have the needs of all the vendors met, whether they're going to have the customer base that the vendor is looking for. You're leaving all of this in the hands of just the promoter. All I'm saying is it's fine to vend, but how about even if you're not going to sell online, you promote the shows for the vendors. From your perspective, hey guys, I'm ABC company with this reptiles. We're going to be here for this weekend. You guys need to understand that everything starts off super, super slow. I remember we used to have gecko release when we started with the geckos, and you used to do hours and hours of work and it would be crickets.
For months.
And it's going to start slow, but you got to build a community, because what I've witnessed is, and it's a good thing, all the vendors at the shows know each other. All the vendors at the shows are friends. So in theory, when you just put stuff out on your Facebook or Instagram, you're only going to reach other vendors.
And that's the thing, like, in order for this community to grow, in order for it to continue to flourish, which it is, it's getting more and more. I mean, reptiles are becoming more and more of a household pet rather than just, there are people that, there are breeders that just do this. They just switch back and forth. They just pay, they just buy here and buy here. People are really, as far as a society as a whole, they're starting to see the benefits of having reptiles versus your normal run-of-the-mill dog, cat, whatever.
And we know that, we're, some of us are dinosaurs, but the thing about it is, think about the future of the industry, the future of the hobby. Expenses. So let's just talk expenses for the last couple minutes of the vid. Doing a show like Tinley, average hotel is going to be is
about $1,000.
So $1,000 for a hotel. And we know other shows, the expenses are not as high, but also the crowd that you're exposed to is not as high as well.
And this obviously is coming from like, we're a married couple, we get a hotel room by ourselves. Like, this is if you don't share like an Airbnb.
Right. There's other ways to cut expenses down. So think about trying to cut those expenses down too. But $1,000 for a hotel room. So gas was what?
It's about $500 for the
gas
entire
is about $500 for the trip, $1,000 for the hotel room. The table cost was what?
$400 plus whatever it is you're getting. Like, if you get an extra table, or if you need power, some places charge more for power, some places include it. It just depended on what where you're at.
$400. So we're already
at
$1,900. Your badges. Let's add another $100. So we're at $2,000 on this show. Now we're talking minor, nothing overkill, but food. Let's say for the trip. Let's say what? $300?
Yeah, that's on the low end.
So let's say $300, and we're talking about for the entire weekend.
Yeah.
So $300. So on the short side of things, you're $2,300 into a weekend, not counting any of your time. Now with that $2,300, let's say you have an amazing weekend. Okay, let's say you do $5,000. Okay, $6,000. Let's say $6,000. Okay, $6,000, and now you're home. You're like, ooh, okay, cool. It's awesome. At the same time, that's what in revenue, $3,700. So you're $3,700 in the black. That's what we would say. Okay, it's remarkable and respectful weekend. So 3,700. So it's 3,700 in the black. You're out of however many animals you sold, which is 30 animals that you no longer have to take care of. They're in new homes, happy homes. But the gist of it is, a lot of the times you don't make those type of profits when you do shows. So if you even lower your expenses to half, you know, let's say your expenses is $1,200 for a local show, whatever it may be. And let's say you're out of half of those animals, 15 animals. And okay, you're home, $3,000. All right, you made $3,000 in sales, but your expenses was $1,200. You made $1,800. So it's awesome. Okay, cool. But at the same time, you are not doing the math from being home and pushing yourself a little bit and being able to make those sales without necessarily incurring the same expenses, nowhere near the same expenses that you're going to incur while vending the show. So you need to absorb all the information and look at all sides. Do both, but at the same time, you're going to be more susceptible to higher expenses when you vend, especially when you're new than when you're vetted and been doing this for, you know, a decade or more. There's several breeders that actually are huge breeders that don't even vend shows in their area, that's in their network at all, because they deemed it not worth it. And we completely understand where we may agree. Everyone doesn't have to agree. We just want to put the information out there so you can kind of analyze it yourself.
But we just want people to understand, if he and I can sit here and put ourselves out there constantly and get told no a million times and get basically, I'm not saying told no, but you know, obviously what we're getting back at the time for what, couple of years was nothing compared to what we were putting in. You guys who are already well connected into the industry as far as vendors are concerned, put in your effort, put in your time to get yourself out there on the internet, to get your face out there. And then you already have the good, you know, the backing, the good standing with the reptile community as far as the vending life is concerned. Right. Now you can come over here and put yourself out there on the internet and start meeting people that don't know you, but yet you already have this established business and good business practices and all that, and that will sing for you. For the masses, for the rest of the masses. That's when somebody hits us up because we've been on the internet for this long, and they see somebody new up on the internet that they've never seen before. But guess what? It's somebody that we've seen over the past 4 or 5 years on the road every single time we've gone to a show. Yep. Yeah, they're great people, you know? And then that's how it works. That's how it happens. It's the same way online as it is vending the show scene. Yep. You get to know these people, but just by virtue, it's like if we had never gotten on the internet, we would have never met, you know, Brian from Altitude Exotics on the Crested Gecko side. We would have never probably met KG from Bomb Projects. Right. We would have never met a lot of these people that we've come into contact with. We would have never even known that they existed. So it's like you really just, you need the best of both worlds. I hate to be all Hannah Montana-ish, but...
Yeah, and we're all creatures of habit, so we have to at least kind of go out there and put yourself out there a little bit.
You do.
You know?
You do. If you're not happy with where you are.
Right. If you are, then keep doing what you're doing.
Keep on keeping on.
Be positive.
Yes.
But that's pretty much it. It's Will. It's Audra. And she's old and it's past her bedtime. So
it is not, sir.
Stop.